Alright guys, welcome back to another draft analysis of Ace. And now we're moving into game 3 of Mineski vs Complexity. One game will decide who goes to the grand finals and who goes home. And in game 2, I still feel that Mineski's lineup was stronger, especially in the late game. They did lose the laning phase by a bit, as I mentioned, that Complexity does have a stronger laning phase. However, they were doing fine in terms of splitting the map and farming on their core heroes, but it was just one Aegis push that Mineski had to they had to defend that, and they will probably be in the lead. But it was a bad fight taken by Mineski. Mushi used his BKB and Eclipse without getting much from the fight, and he didn't have buyback after dying, and then they just lost 2 Rex. At that point, it was just pretty much over. It was a very strong timing by Complexity with the Aegis, as well as the Blood Rage Pugna Blast on towers, which is extremely powerful. Complexity is a team that really knows how to use their timing. They always know the strongest timing they have, and they will utilize that timing to go make into a push. That's why they have been doing so well. Every time they hit that push, they execute the push very well, and they win from there. So yeah, it was a very close. If all Mineski had to do was to defend that push, and then they would be most likely back into the game and even ahead. Nonetheless, it was a good game, and yeah, now we're moving on to game 3. Moving into game 3, Complexity will probably still draft their own style. I don't think they'll change much. That's what they're comfortable with. They'll draft a early mid game lineup where they can hit the timing. It was a very different draft from Complexity in game 2 because they didn't, as I mentioned, they didn't go for any roaming supports. They just utilized the Warlock as well as the Winter Wyvern. And yeah, they based it around a lot of team fights. Okay, game 3 draft has started, and now we are into the ban phase. Mineski with the first pick. Will we see any change in the ban? Mineski will go IO Shaker, I believe, again. Will Complexity ban the Tasca this time? Or will they just stick to Leech Venom? Okay, so just taking some time for the first phase ban.
10 seconds remaining. Dire team back.
Yeah, it's just sticking to the IO Shaker. Just not wanting to play against the 2 heroes that. Yeah, four similar bans as the previous 2 games. Will Mineski go for the Tasca here again, or will they change things up? It didn't work in game 2, so okay, so they decided to change it up. They go for Earth Spirit. It's a very similar hero to Tasca, but slightly stronger, I would say, because based on his impact in the past few days, we have been seeing a lot of Earth Spirit or Navi on Seneko, as well as Yapsaw, Secret Yapsaw, and it has all been pretty successful. I'm not sure why isn't it picked more by other teams, but here is Mineski picking it up for Japs, I believe. That's gonna be a position for Mineski. And Complexity, how will they respond? Will they go for their Jakiro or will they go for their Winter Wyvern here? The Winter Wyvern didn't seem to do a lot last game though. There wasn't any like clutch core embrace. His ultimates were nothing special as well. So I don't think that it's a very crucial pick in their draft as well. Complexity go for the Nature's Prophet. Complexity did play a position 4/5 Nature's Prophet the other day, and so opening with a Nature's Prophet here gives them the option. They can still play on Mu as an offlane, or they can switch it to Chessie. I think one of their players did mention in the interview that all 5 heroes of their lineup can play the Nature's Prophet. So it's actually a very versatile pick for them. They can just switch it around as and when they feel like it. And having such a hero in your team, it's very good to open with it because it allows the strategy. It doesn't tell your opponent anything about your plans, because if this hero can be played in any role. And Complexity goes on with the Sand King again. The last game they played it as an offlane Senking, but to be
10
honest, we haven't been
seconds
seeing
remaining.
much offlane Senking recently. So
5
I'm not sure what
seconds remaining.
made them go for it, and it did work as the last game as because they won. But I'm not sure if you'll see it again or it will be a position 4 offlane this time. Sorry, position 4 Senking this time. For Mineski, I think they will go for Ninja Boogie's hero here because Mineski don't really like to show their cores early on. Either that or they might just pick up the Necrophos here, just as a very comfort hero and versatile as well.
Dire team ban.
Okay, instead they go for the Jakiro. I would say that's gonna be Ninja Boogie's hero. I'm not sure why they decide to go for it this game. Like, there's nothing special. It just helps with pushing
10
and
seconds remaining.
just a stable position 5 hero, I guess.
5 seconds remaining.
It doesn't do exceptionally well against Nature's Prophet.
Radiant
The
team
Liquid Fire
ban.
can be pretty useful in harassing the Treants as well as the Prophet himself. But just I wouldn't say that this pick has like a specific agenda in mind, apart from it being just a stable position 5 support right now. Complexity stick
10
to their gun.
seconds remaining.
They ban the Mushi Sensi Mage, and probably
5
going to
seconds remaining.
stick to the same 4th ban as well. Mineski still not
Dire
sure.
team
Yep,
ban.
they stick to their bans, banning the Beastmaster. For complexity, ban the Savan here. If they're planning to put Nature's Prophet on the offlane, then banning Savan here might be a good choice. First of all, Mushi plays it quite well, and Savan counters Nature's Prophet in the lane as well as in the mid game in terms of pushing out waves as well.
5 seconds remaining.
But since the complexity has the option to switch around this Nature's Prophet, I think they're fine with not banning the Savan. Yeah, they didn't. They banned the Lifestealer instead. Because if let's say the Mineski picks the Savan, they can just switch this Nature's Prophet into a support role maybe. And Sprout is very good against Savan in the fights as well. You can keep sprouting him, and
remaining.
like, especially if he BKB, you sprout him, you kind of waste his BKB. And Savan
5
doesn't go
seconds remaining.
Better Fury, neither will he have a Quelling Blade in the fight, in his inventory in the late game, because let's say if 5-6 slotted, he wouldn't have space for a Quelling Blade, and Sprout will be very
Dire team
effective.
pick.
Mineski decided to remove the Winter Wyvern this game, just to probably take complexity out of their comfort zone. It's still a very strong hero regardless, even though like last game as a position
10
5 he didn't do
seconds
much.
remaining.
He was creating a lot of space though. He's pushing out waves,
Radiant
forcing
team
Mineski
pick.
to react, and yeah, he kept dying, but that was just space for complexity to farm. He was pushing out waves well. His death wasn't just wasted. He was doing something, and it forced Mineski to react. Complexity goes for the Bloodseeker here.
10 seconds remaining.
It's a hero that, as I mentioned, they are very comfortable with playing,
5
and it
seconds
suits their
remaining.
playstyle a lot. The last game you can see they play around it very well, and on top of the Pagna Blast, the damage was just insane. I wouldn't be surprised to see Complexity going for the 4th pick Pagna in this game, just because of it shows that they made it work, and as well as it's something they're comfortable with. Mineski has to be afraid of that. Like they have to be aware that this is a very high possibility of it happening, so they need to start picking around it. And they go for the Tinker. I think Mushi was the one who played Tinker yesterday in their first game against, who was it? Was it VG? Was it VG
10
Gaming where he played
seconds
Tinker?
remaining.
It might be. Yeah, so Mushi was the one playing Tinker. Tinker can help with the split pushing. It's just a plus Tinker. It's very hard for him to get the rupture on Tinker because he always be in the trees, and Tinker can deal out a lot of damage very quickly. If like when the Blastiker is blood raged, he will take a lot of damage from the Tinker's burst, especially if he gets stay gone. So Blastiker must be very careful in the late game on when to use his blood rage. If he misuse the timing, and Tinker comes in with the laser rocket as well as stay gone, oh, the damage is gonna be insane. Tinker is also a very good tool to deal with Nature's Prophet split push. Let's say if you're trying to push a lane and then Nature's Prophet is split pushing, Tinker can just TP to that lane, send a march and then join back his team. Complexity though, they do have some answers. Nature's Prophet Sprout can check for in the trees, Sand King, Blink Stun as well. And Bloodrite does provide the vision as well. Okay, I might be wrong on that. I can't remember if they changed the Bloodrite. Not sure if it provides vision anymore. Okay, so complexity goes for the Silencer next. Silencer, it's a decent answer to the Tinker. It forces him to get some kind of anti-silence item, BKB or Yule Scepter. Usually you don't really see Tinker with Yules though, or not even you don't. BKB is also a very uncommon pickup on Tinker. But the Silencer might force him into one of these two, because if he doesn't get out of silence, and by the time he joins the fight, his team might be already down 1 or 2 heroes and it's very hard for them to take the fight from there.
Dire team ban.
Mineski goes for the Night Stalker here, and this is a Ice Night Stalker. Or is it a Ice Jakiro? Interesting. Okay, this might be a Ninja Boogie's Night Stalker and an Ice Jakiro, and then a Jeps of Spirit. That seems like the more likely
5
option.
seconds remaining. Radiant team ban.
And Complexity bans the Chaos Knight, seeing that their lineup doesn't do very well with illusions. Plastica is kind of single target. Nature's Prophet and Sand King does have AoE, but if let's say CK gets a hard, then it's very hard for Plastica to fight against him. And if the CK get ruptured, he can just Phantasm and send them and fight.
Radiant team pick.
CK is also a Manta builder, so global silence isn't a problem for him. And yeah, Mineski decided to ban the Pakna, removing the same combo that Complexity could have went for. Mineski has about 25 seconds for their last pick. Sorry about that. And they need a carry for Nana, I believe. If Mushi is the one playing the Tinker, then they're gonna need some. Nana's hero is he usually plays Necrophos or Mirana. Those are his more comfort heroes. Okay, so this game Nana is the one playing the Tinker and Mushi is the one going for the Seven. So Mineski decided to leave this Seven for the last pick because of the Nature's Prophet. I think they're more certain that this Nature's Prophet is on offlane now. That being said, Complexity can still change it up. They can still put a Sand King in the offlane, and Sand King versus 7 is a much stronger lane matchup for the Complexity side. Because any mini hero against 7, they're gonna need supports to help him. If not, the Caustic Finale will just make 7's life really, really difficult. And looking at it, there might be a very high chance that Complexity will do that, seeing the 7 pick, putting Mu on the Sand King again and Zfrick on the Nature's Prophet. Carl can definitely play the Silencer. For the last pick mid, they can choose to go for something like Queen of Pain maybe? Okay, they go for Chen. Is this a core silencer? Yeah, it's a mid silencer, right? No, it's a core Nature's Prophet and a Sand King as well. It's a chassis on the Nature's Prophet. No, it's a mid silencer. Okay, so the mid silencer, I'm not sure if they're gonna switch it up, but if it's a mid silencer, it's gonna do pretty well against Tinker. And silencer with the glaives, it's pure damage. It kind of eats through the Savann's high armor. And they're putting Sand King on the position 5 hero. So they're still okay with putting Nature's Prophet up against the Mushi 7. Probably the Sand King, not Sand King, the Chen will send creeps to help the Nature's Prophet lane to make it easier for him. Mineski has a very strong high ground defense with the Jakiro's Macro Pyre clearing creep waves very quickly, as well as Tinker. Tinker is one of the best high ground defender. And Savan can split push extremely fast with all his cleave as well as blink. He can split push pretty safely. And the only catch that Complexity currently have is Carl on the Sand King as well as Tracy on the Bloodseeker. There's only one DP cancel on the side of Complexity, which is the Sand King. So that can be a downside to the Complexity's lineup. If they are like Bloodseeker, like usually when you rupture, the best counter the opponent will do is to TP up, and there's no one on Complexity side that can cancel TP except the Sand King. So his positioning in this game is going to be very important. Every time Bloodseeker want to go for a kill, this Sand King must be around to follow up. On the side of Mineski, their lineup is a bit more all-rounded. Ice on the Night Stalker, providing the vision game as well as the utility kind of play, and he's going to be the one creating a lot of space for his team. And also Night Stalker is a really strong laner, so matching up against a Bloodseeker with help from like the Earth Spirit, he's gonna do just fine. I think a lot of this game for Complexity relies on the Chen, especially after this 2-0 start for Mineski. They already have an early lead. The laning is not going to go so well for Complexity and relies on a lot of this Chen to make the plays. Sand King as a position 5, it's very hard for him to do a lot of stuff because his XP is going to be limited, and he's learned level 1 stun, but he's going to need help from the Chen to get any form of kills, especially on a hero like Night Stalker, which is pretty tanky. In the late game, I would say Mineski has a stronger lineup. Tinker and Seven are both extremely strong late game, and they have the vision advantage from the Night Stalker. Complexity on the other hand, they have to rely on this silencer from snowballing. If a silencer have a good game, stealing a lot of intelligence in the laning phase as well as the early mid game, then Complexity might be able to stand a chance. As a safer option, I'm gonna go with Mineski. They have a more stable draft, something they are comfortable with. But Complexity have proved me wrong many times, and this might be another game for that. Okay, let me know what you think of the draft analysis, as well as which draft you think is better or you favor more. And yeah, leave them in the comments below.